Hello there everyone, this is Mr. Brass, and today I'll be going over the myth of the scientific method. Now let me clarify this before I proceed. I'm not saying there is no methodology in science. That would be absurd. Scientists do things that can be described and are unique to the field of study that they are in, but to say all practices of science can be squeezed into a handful of steps is a lie. My claim here is that there is no universal scientific method, i.e. handful of steps that all the practices of science follows. Each field comes geared with a set of tools. A view that I often see people hold online is what I would like to call unificationism, i.e. the idea that there is one method essential to science. Will there be an overlap in tools used by scientists? Yes, but there are varying differences of the methods used in the fields. Well, with that said, let's get into the video. Oftentimes, systematic observation, inductive and deductive reasoning, experimentation, and etc. are typical characteristics we think of with science, but even how these are done is carried out in a variety of ways. Now, it may be made clear that the scientific method is distinguishable from the things science aims to do, i.e. like increased knowledge and predictions, as these are almost very universal goals in science. The rules of the methods are constantly argued over in order to see if they are satisfying values and goals that science wants. The beliefs about the role of science in society will also affect how scientists give the values of the method. Philosophers of science tend to focus on how practices, aka what the scientists do, rather than the method or just some pluralism. These practices are not meant to be universal and unified. A degree of pluralism regarding the practices is good as long as we remember the details of scientific practices varies with time and place. Now, this isn't to say that science is subjective, but rather that scientists use different methods to reach objective truth about reality. The legend of a single scientific method seems to come at least partly from science education, where the scientific method is presented as a 4 to 5 step procedure, which can be traced back to the philosopher and psychologist John Dewey in his 1910 book How We Think. We don't have a scientific method, we have methods of science. Even Nobel laureate Steven Weinberg said in his paper The Methods of Science that basically the same thing. Overall, the scientific method has historically been like a rhetoric used as a way to get people interested in learning science, thus giving it also a prestige, and it's to separate science from other kinds of knowledge even when there isn't a concise definition for science. Well, that is all for today. This is Mr. Brass saying goodbye and get wise.